Hey everybody, welcome back to What's for Dinner.
Hi,
Hey,
how's it going?
hope you're all doing well. What do we have going on tonight, hon?
I feel like we're late today too.
We are so late. It's what, 4:45?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
So you just grilled on the charcoal grill 3 fillets
I did.
since we're by ourselves.
Yeah. So the fillets with butter on the charcoal grill, and then both of us will have some delicious Redmond salt or Jane's Crazy mixed up seasoning.
Yep.
What else?
And then of course I did some bacon.
Yep, got bacon in the air fryer.
Yep.
So, okay.
And then eggs.
all right,
Store-bought.
steak, bacon, and eggs.
Yep, my favorite.
Yum.
And then I
Alright.
did have some spinach dip. This is the spinach dip that's left over from last night. The kids, I guess, didn't find it, so I just warmed it up.
What is the spinach dip now?
So I want you to hover over this because someone asked for it
Okay.
from last night's thing.
All right.
So just snap a picture of this and then you'll have it. I quadruple this and I don't put artichokes in. Artichokes are fine, but when I first started doing this like 5 years ago, my family, the kids didn't like the artichokes. So I stopped putting it in there.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. All right. So will any of this stuff that we made tonight, will it cause our insulin or blood sugar and insulin to spike?
it will not unless you
Okay.
add carbohydrates or sugar to it. Then your sugar will go up and your insulin will go up as well.
Okay.
And then you're on your way to diabetes.
Wow.
That sounds fun, doesn't it?
No, not really. Diabetes is not cool.
No, but if you add rice or mashed potatoes, baked potato, sweet potato, all the same rolls, then you're going to have a problem with your blood sugar going up. If you just eat fat and protein, nothing's going to happen.
If you've got type 2 diabetes, meaning you acquired that due to lifestyle, diet, things like that, can that be reversed?
For sure. Now, there are people that will say, oh, it can't be reversed. It could be put into remission, what semantics, whatever you want to call it, but you can get it to a very normal, where no one would know you had diabetes unless you told them.
What about type 1s? Because that's
Type
more of a
1s.
genetic, right? They're born
Yeah.
with that, right?
So that's a problem with the pancreas that can't make insulin. And so type 2s, you're making too much insulin. Type 1s can never resolve it. Well, there's miracles, right?
Sure.
But never resolve it. You'll always need insulin. It just is a matter of how much insulin. And they let type 1s and type 2s sit at an A1C, which is your 3-month daily average of blood sugars. That's how we diagnose diabetes. They let type 1s and 2s sit at 7 and 8, and they say that that is controlled. That is malpractice, in my opinion, because an A1C that high is an average daily blood sugar of about 172. If you go above 100, that's where you're doing damage to your vessels like heart, carotids for heart attack and stroke. So I think that's terrible advice. I think it's malicious because you're doing damage.
Wow.
So
That's powerful stuff.
is it?
Yeah. So we had somebody reached out last night. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it, but one of our subscribers, super sweet, was and I guess just to kind of simplify the question, and we can respond to it as well in writing on the in a message. But they were asking, I guess the best way to sum it up is family members. So you have family members, moms, dads, cousins, things like that, who are not on board with this stuff. They don't agree with it. They don't like it. They don't like to eat that way. They maybe don't like the way the foods taste. There's a lot of excuses that come down the pipe with regards to reasons why they won't go on a ketogenic or low carb or carnivore type diet.
Yeah.
So do you have any, what do you typically do with your patients when they come to you and they have that situation?
That is really hard. What I would say is just lead by example. And remember that the biggest hang up in all these excuses, the place it's coming from, is food addiction. Whether or not you're cognizant of it, our food addiction is legal, and our food addiction is mac and cheese and grilled cheese and french fries, not even Milky Way and cake and cupcakes. So you're asking them to give up something that they aren't ready to yet, and that's where the excuses come in. I would just say lead by example, and hopefully they'll hop over to your side and start doing that. But it's very difficult, and especially if you're just a family member, that's hard.
And that leads to a good point too, is a lot of folks, people get it like with regards to eating junk food. Like when they think junk food, they think like candy bars
Yeah.
and cupcakes and brownies and cake and all that kind of stuff. The stuff that's obvious junk food. But when you talk to them about eating low carb or ketogenic type foods, and you start talking to them about potatoes and pasta and all that, they've been doing that for a long time. They don't look at that as junk food, so
Right.
they have to change their mindset and start looking at those as, I don't want to say, I'm cautious to say junk food, But if they're not metabolically healthy, it's the same thing.
But
Is it
I
not?
say those foods, when people eat pasta and rice, I'm just like, that's devoid of really any nutrients. All that's doing is spiking your sugar and not giving you anything in return.
So it's energy. It's
Right.
just-
At least you could say if you ate a banana, there might be some fiber in there. Fiber's not necessary in real life, but I'm just saying, at least you could say the banana gave you something. People will say potassium, but an avocado has more than a banana. I'm just saying, like, pasta, what nutrients is it giving you? Energy, sure, but
Well, it's energy in the form of sucrose or carbohydrates that break down to sucrose. But fat is just, if not just as good, if not better, as an energy source. But our problem here is excess stored energy.
Yes.
So that's all fat is. Fat on our body, in adipose or visceral or whatever kind you have, is stored energy. Your body doesn't need the energy from the foods you're eating, so it puts it away and puts it into storage, and then it's available for later.
Yeah.
So, our goal here is to do what? Is to tap into that. We want to reach into that storage. If we're eating foods that are high energy in the form of carbohydrates, it forces the pancreas to create insulin. The insulin, therefore, takes up the sugar or the carbohydrates when they're broken down to sugar in our system,
Yeah.
and it transports them to fat storage, unless you unless you need it for fuel for what you're doing.
but you could never, I think, in my daily, use up a potato or a banana.
Well, certainly not in the short term. Right. So if in other words, you ate a potato, it's hard to take the energy you're going to get from that one potato and instantly turn that into usable fuel that you're going to be like going out and running sprints right after you eat a potato or something. I mean, right. I just don't. Anyway, it's just I guess it's a change in the mindset is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to get
and
at.
people have to understand that you could eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on white bread, or you could have ice cream. It would be the same difference for your blood sugar.
Right, because if it's the same amount of carbohydrates, your pancreas doesn't know the difference between the carbohydrates coming from your pasta versus the carbohydrates coming from your candy bar.
Yeah.
It's going to create insulin no matter what. And we need to clear that insulin out, do we
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, you got to clear it out.
Yeah.
And I finally did the post I told you guys I was going to do the other day. It's scheduled for tomorrow morning, but I said in there, you don't even really need labs to see if you're insulin resistant. If your belly goes beyond your belt, so if you have a beer belly, remember we used to say way back in the 80s, like, oh, they just have a beer belly.
Yeah.
Okay, or if you have a dad bod, and for females, it's the same. If your belly protrudes past your belt, you have insulin resistance.
Yeah.
Because by the time your belly's gotten beyond your belt, it's stuffed your pancreas and your liver full. Now you got fatty liver, and that's busting out the gills.
Visceral fat.
And that visceral fat, and now you've got abdominal fat.
Yeah.
So
So it's on the inside and the outside.
you do not want visceral fat. That is a bad biomarker.
And I was going to say those are all like that, or like if you're standing next to a wall and you put your toes up against the
Yeah.
wall, you're facing it.
My
and
toes are on the
And
on
if
the wall.
if your belly hits the wall before your toes do, then that's another proxy for what kind of disease? Heart disease, high blood pressure.
Listen, high blood pressure, heart disease, PCOS, infertility, blood pressure, if I didn't already, those
Yeah.
are all the same. It's insulin.
Waist to height ratio, same thing.
Right.
You want your waist to be half roughly, this is not for everybody. I'm short, so I have a little bit of a skewed reading, but your waist to be half or less of your height. So if you're 68 inches tall, you want to be 34 inches in your waist or less.
Right.
But anyway,
Yeah, by the time you get diagnosed at your corporate medicine provider's office with an A1C in the pre-diabetic or diabetic range, you've been doing damage for at least 10 to 15 years.
ouch.
So,
So the longer you go, the harder it is to reverse and the harder it is to repair.
well, yeah,
and
you've got a lot of reparations to make. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Well, we're at almost 10 minutes now.
Okay.
9 minutes
How are you
plus, so-
supposed to change if no one has told you this information? So you're the first person telling your relatives that, and they're going to, of course, ask, why doesn't my doctor say that?
Yeah.
Because your doctor's a moron.
Well, because your doctor maybe doesn't know. And
I feel like it's willful ignorance at this point, because I feel like so many people are going into offices and saying these things. Yeah.
well, you hear it. And guys, just so you know, Teresa hears this all day long in her practice. People come in and sit in front of her, and this is what she hears day in and day out.
But I mean,
So-
if you're educated and you know diabetes is a nutritional disease of too much sugar, why would you tell people to eat sugar? We don't
Yeah.
tell peanut allergy people to eat peanuts.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's difficult to wrap your head around. But anyway, we love you guys.
Yeah.
And share with us what you guys are having for dinner. And if you have any questions, shoot them our way. And we love you all, and God bless, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.